This is not a test. This is not a test. This is not a test. I don't know if you can hear me. This is not a test. This is not a test. I don't know if you can hear me.
Kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing. Won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless.
This is not a test.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say and can will be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer and have them present with you while you're being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before any questionings if you wish. All right. You good, dude?
It doesn't want to let me up. It didn't want to let me up. Hi, everybody. You good, dudes? Everybody good? Oh, my goodness. Let me go back up here and say hello. Jenny Jen, hello. So nice to see you. That dog always giving everybody the side eye. Dandy, nice to see you. Hannah Banana, nice to see you. Allegedly speculating. Hello. Dandy, how are you? You're rocking. You rocking out? I had to find something that wasn't going to get me copyrighted every time I played it. Rubber Ramada, Crime Time with Sheila. Nice to see you. Voodoo. The hee haw. I don't know why some of them will show up and some of them won't. We bought a Mountain Dew and we're all in trouble now. Oh my goodness. All right, I meant what I said. Trigger warning. Trigger warning. Tonight we're going to dive into another difficult and very controversial case at the moment. We're going to talk about the homicide of 23-year-old Iryna Zarutska on Charlotte's CATS Light-Rail, the Blue Line rail, on August 22nd. So just make sure that you're guarding your mental health tonight. You needed a break? I'm sorry. It's so good to see you here, though. You saw some more. Yeah, some of them were pretty gruesome. You put them on Discord and had to stop. I'll have to go back and look at them after we. He looks more than good. Yeah, he does. He does look more than good. So I'll be honest with you. This is hands down the most nervous I have been on a live. I don't know why. Just hands down the most nervous. I'm going to put the StreamYard link for anybody who wants to come up. I'm not going to put the comments on the stage tonight just in case. I don't want anything to get taken down, but just please remember we're using this under fair use disclaimer. Purely entertainment, criticism, commentary, or research purposes. All the opinions on the platform that are mine are mine. Anybody else that comes up, your opinions are your own. All defendants that we talk about today are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. I know it's a whole cop spiel. The stream is definitely just for discussion, respectful conversation only, and the mods will definitely watch close. And so let's not dox anybody that's not involved in the case out, et cetera, et cetera. You guys know the drill. What did everybody do today besides the obvious? I know everybody's been in some controversial places today. Had a lot of things going on. You changed your live? Oh. Well, I appreciate that. You didn't have to do that. I appreciate that a whole bunch. All right, the very first thing I'm going to bring up, just because that's where the facts start in the case, is going to be in the criminal complaint. And I just want to give a special thank you to Allegedly Speculating, because we usually do this document thing where if we need them, we find them. And if each other has them, we make sure that each other has them. And I'm just really grateful that I got that from her early this morning. So I was able to read through it. And actually, it was early last night, wasn't it? Let me share the screen over here. Not that one. Wait, is that the one? Well, I did. Listen. I don't remember how I got everything. Either you got it or I got it. I don't know. Either way, we got it. I don't know. You sent me something. Either way, we got it, right? Lucky us. Let me bring this up. Okay, on screen, that's the Department of Justice criminal complaint. And it comes from the U.S. District Court. Around 9:46 p.m. Okay, I won't tell. You got a cold? Oh, it's easy peasy. It's easy peasy. Go to Allegedly. She knows how to do all the document stuff. I just follow her lead. Okay. Oh, I guess I should address the elephant in the room. I didn't even think about doing that. So yesterday, I've rebranded the channel to True Crime Guardians with Hio, because I felt like the channel is not just me. The channel is you guys, and without you guys, I don't have a channel, and you guys are the guardians of Firelight, and that's just amazing. And so I thought it would be better if we were all known as, the True Crime Guardians. Okay. You do know. You do know. Okay. Just going to go over a brief part of this right here. So we're going to highlight this timeline. Around 9:46 p.m. This girl, I'm already stumbling over my words because I'm still really angry about the stuff that I saw. Let me pull up this screenshot. You guys saw hold on here. You guys saw the thumbnail. This girl right here. This girl. Okay, that's who we're talking about. Zarutska, Iryna Zarutska. She got on the Blue Line at East and West Boulevard Station, and she sat directly in front of Decarlos Brown Jr. Decarlos Brown Jr. is a suspect that was arrested for her homicide. Minutes later, he takes out a pocket knife. He leans forward and he strikes her in the neck 3 times. 3 times. Unsuspectingly. At 9:50, which is 4 minutes later, officers respond, and they find Zarutska on the train, unresponsive. Brown was detained. He got off of the train, but they detained him on the platform. He was also bleeding from a cut on his hand. Hi, Mark. Welcome in. Welcome in. So let's go back to the complaint. Yeah, I think she's very pretty. The whole thing is it's just sad. The whole thing's sad. So let's go down here a little further. Hello? There we go. So this is where we're at right here. At approximately 21:55 hours, they responded. And if you look down here on the bottom, you can see right here. Some of you've seen the video, and we'll watch some of the video, but this is in the complaint itself. This shows her getting on the train here. And this shows her going to sit down. And this shows him behind her. So basically what I saw when I first watched the video was different from what my husband saw. So we'll talk about that together and see what you guys think about what you saw on the video. But then you can clearly see him pulling out a pocket knife. She's down here looking at her phone. He unfolded it, lifted it up, and he's on this side of her. So you would think that he was going to get her right here, but he kind of comes around here and he stabs her 3 times in the neck over here. After the attack, you can see blood dripping all over the train, back and forth, back and forth. Nobody runs to her aid. Nobody. Nobody flinches. Nobody moves a finger to go and help her. No one helped her. No. So this is the criminal complaint and the arrest warrant. We'll look at that too. But if anybody wants a copy of that, just let me know. I'd be glad to put it on the Discord for you so you can go over it on your channel or you can read it yourself. But basically, that's the long and short of it. So at 9:50, the officers respond. They found her unresponsive. Charlotte Mecklenburg police say he was immediately arrested and charged with first-degree murder. Immediately. There's no ifs, ands, or buts, right? I mean, we always say innocent until proven guilty until you get to court and then you figure out that that's not always how it works. That back up for a few minutes. Hello, ma'am.
Hey, what's up? I figured I'd come up for a minute while I can, but I'm on my phone.
Well, you can be on whatever you want to be. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, thank you. Good to see y'all. Oh, let me pull my chat up. Okay. There we go. Okay.
Move this over here as we go. So you won't be able to hear this. I'll have to bring it up as a video right here, but this is telling us what we know. So on Tuesday, they started sharing details about this girl. She's 23 years old. 23 years old. She was a girl. I've never been on a live where I'm losing my words every 5 seconds. I've never been on a live like that.
It's really sad because she had her whole life ahead of her, and I saw the video and I didn't even realize that he came in from the side. It's a very sad day.
It's just hard because I'm like, my son is 24 years old, and this is like, I don't understand what's happening all over the place. It's not her, particularly, but it's just like, how old is the gentleman that was shot this afternoon? He was under 35. Like everybody's so young. Shit's happening everywhere, right? Anyway, it says loved ones had previously reported that Zarutska fled from the war in Ukraine to live in Charlotte, North Carolina. Hi, Cindy. Welcome in. Girls, if I was going to say, would you mind dropping allegedly speculating's Discord, please, Miss Hannah? Special Agent Barnacle said Tuesday that Zarutska had been living in a bomb shelter in Ukraine before moving to Charlotte. I think you had told me that earlier, right, Jess?
Yes.
You'd read about that. So she had recently moved in with her partner while in Charlotte, officials said. Zarutska's partner was not named in Tuesday's press conference, and it wasn't clear whether they also had moved from the Ukraine, so not much is known about them. They clarified Tuesday that officials did not know Zarutska's specific obstacles in the Ukraine, so the family hasn't talked about that yet. According to Agent Barnacle, Zarutska immediately got a job when she obtained a permit to work in the United States, which means she was here lawfully and legally. The 23-year-old woman was working at a senior assisted living center, a pizza place, and she also took care of animals in the neighborhood. Freaking A, dude. So 3 jobs at once, which reminds me of my younger years. Like that is so amazing that, I don't know, she just came here with the ambition to work. Right? Prior to moving to Charlotte, Zarutska graduated with a degree in art and restoration from a college in Ukraine's capital. When Zarutska was killed in Charlotte on August 22nd, she was wearing a work uniform. She boarded the light rail to go home following a shift at one of her jobs. This young lady rode that train many times. She was probably tired after a long day of work and just trying to get home to her loved ones, Article said on Tuesday. WBTV reached out to the pizza place where Zarutska reportedly worked, but they were not open to speaking at that time. The U.S. Attorney, or Agent Barnacle and Russ Ferguson, the U.S. Attorney for the Western District of North Carolina, said on Tuesday that they had spoken with Zarutska's family. Their conversation Their conversation came just before their press conference to announce a federal charge in the case. We hope this additional charge will help bring them a measure of justice and accountability for this horrific act. So the charge, pull that up.
They're actually charging him with another charge that's like, because he did it on a like a train where people go back and forth from work every day or something like that. It got up to that, which I thought was interesting.
I believe it's an act of terrorism on a mass transit vehicle, is what we read yesterday. So it
Yeah.
wasn't on here. It wasn't on here first. Obviously, this was just the original warrant for the arrest in order for them to get them, what they needed to get him arrested. So they had to have a warrant for that. So that's all it says on this one. Pull up the other one. There's 7 original. Allegedly speculating, I wish you would organize your drive. I mean, it's all over the place. You got so many cases.
I know. I can't figure it out half the time either.
I just look up for the names. No, it's really organized considering. Okay, here we go. Oh. I closed it out as I was dragging it over. Okay, here we go.
I'm about to step outside so I can talk more, so give me just a minute.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, that's the original criminal complaint that we just came up with. We just looked at that. The criminal complaint. It basically just tells what it was that he did. Okay, there we go. Obtaining criminal charge. I wish that summary would stop coming up. I don't know how to turn that off. It states his address as homeless. His date of birth is 10/1/1990. Can you guys see that? If not, let me get it closer. There we go. 10/1 of 1990. Age 34, height 5'10", weight 180. When did the incident occur? On 8/22. And where is 1821 Camden? The victim's address. Put that out there. And okay, here it goes. So this was the original reason for the arrest. On 8/22, we know that there was an assault with a deadly weapon with injury call for service that was occurring on a train. So somebody did call. I don't know who. The call comments included that a female was just stabbed in the throat by a black male wearing a black shirt, light blue jeans, and an orange hoodie. Officers responded to the scene, were directed by witnesses to the location of the defendant, Decarlos Brown Jr., who was on the outbound light rail platform. The defendant was wearing the same clothing as described by the 911 callers. It says plural here, and had a laceration to the outside of his right hand. The defendant was arrested and transported to a local hospital for treatment. A folding knife was located near the outbound platform, so maybe he dropped the knife when he got off. The victim was located in the rear car of the train at the inbound platform. She was pronounced deceased at 22:05. 22:05. 22:05. 21:55. 22:05. That's how fast she bled out.
It's really fast when you see the video. I don't know if you can play it, but it really bothered me because she was living in a bomb shelter in Ukraine with an art degree. She came over here to try to make a better life and is working 3 freaking jobs. And then I heard that her parents said that she loved it. They were trying to get her body taken back to the Ukraine, but her parents said she loved it here so much that they wanted her buried here. And it's just really sad to hear about somebody coming from Russia, over here to try to do better and live a better life, and then she just that happens to her. Like it makes you lose faith in humanity.
It seems a little unfair, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really did.
So the detectives obtained the video from inside of the car, and I do have the video. Um, allegedly also has it. If anybody wants it, reach out to me privately if you just have to see it, and then we'll tell you where it's at. You can find it on X. It's pretty easy to find. The video's clear. It has a really high quality. You can see everything that you need to see there. So the victim enters the train car, sits in the seats directly in front of him, and then the train travels for approximately 4.5 minutes before the suspect pulls out the knife from his pocket, unfolds it, pauses, stands up, and strikes at the victim 3 times. Blood visibly drips on the floor as the defendant walks away from the victim, stating a lot of crap, talking a lot of smack. The victim goes unresponsive shortly after the attack. You can see her grab her face as if she's trying to almost try to be quiet, almost try not to provoke him to come back. She looks scared to death. The defendant is the assailant on the video. There appears to be no interaction between the victims and the defendant. Defendants are seeking a charge for murder. So these are all of the documents. Like I said, if anybody wants them, there's that original judgment, original disposition here that came up from the police officer that was on duty. This is the video. She's sitting right here in front, and he comes up behind her. And like I said, he ends up stabbing her on this side of the neck over here. And I know that we saw. Okay, so this is the motion in order for committing him. He was at regional hospital in Butner campus when we talked about this last week. And then, so we're going to talk about what that means too. And then I think this is the conditions of release and order. You're not getting out this time, buddy. 14 times before that, he has made it out. We're going to talk about that as well, and what they're calling for that judge's head. They're calling for that judge's head. They want her off of the bench. It's not just her. There's 14 failures before that, not just her.
You know, I've heard about some of his charges. Like, he's been to prison, I think, 2 separate times, and like each one was 5 years or more. And it's like burglary with a weapon. The most, like, there was one that was like making false 911 calls or something. That tells me something might be mentally wrong. And I mean, I guess, you know, there's all different kinds of mental illness, but if you've got the capacity to take a firearm and burglarize somebody in their home, I think you've got the mental capacity to understand that you've just committed first-degree homicide and should be held accountable for that personally.
Agreed. There is a timeline, and I'll pull it up here. That's what I wanted to go over here with you. His prior criminal history and the timeline that goes along with that. Hello?
I'm here. I'm sorry.
No, not you. My
Oh.
computer is hexed or something today. It really is giving me heck, and it never does that. So I don't know. Like remember I told you earlier I was kind of feeling off. It's not I'm feeling off about the case. I'm feeling off about this whole situation, and everything has been so heavy today. And my computer's like, chill out.
Mine was acting up the other day. I think it's better now. Although after today's live, I'm probably on an FBI watch list. So if it messes up tomorrow, we'll know why, because the FBI is watching.
That's funny. Oh, I know what I was going to show you. So we do have. There is a snippet of his first jail call on X that we can look up and listen to, and what it is that he is saying. What is he saying about the reason that he did this? Let me pull that up for you.
Yeah, I heard about it, but I haven't listened to it myself.
Yeah, and you know, X is going to get us all in trouble, so we have to be careful. But this one right here is not too bad. It's not too bad at all.
Okay. Yeah, X is the Wild West.
Right. So Benny Johnson posted. He speaks from jail for the first time since the brutal homicide of Iryna Zarutska. He claims the government implanted materials in his body that made him commit the horrific crime. The material, put it like that, the material using my body, well, you'll hear all of that. It's that that's not me. I'm talking about just for no reason. But since they did that, now they got to investigate the material my body exposed to. Since they want to do all that, now they got to investigate, is what he says. So we're going to listen to it. Let me know if y'all are able to hear it.
Body did what? So you said something in your body did what?
Nah, the material, put it like this, the material using my body to stab the lady.
And so she just got stabbed.
Yeah. You know that's not me. I'm talking about just for no reason. But since they did that, now they gotta investigate the material my body exposed to. Since they want to do all that, now they gotta investigate.
It's funny because she's from the Ukraine. She's from Russia. And they got a war, they had a war going on against the United States. So I'm just trying to understand out of all people why her.
That's hey, it ain't. I don't have nothing. They just lashed out on her. That's what happened. They lashed out on her. Whoever was working the material, whoever was working the material, they lashed out on her.
What does any of that mean?
Okay. Now I moonlight as a conspiracy theorist, okay? And so I do believe in certain things happening. However, in this instance, it would make me think he's either trying to be schizophrenic. It sounds like he's trying to be like Spider-Man with the Venom thing. He's trying to correlate it to that with the government being in charge of the Venom aspect of it. Schizophrenia, that's what that would remind me of personally. And he's probably going to try to cop an insanity plea. That's what I think.
I agree. So they said in his first jail audio, he talks about the material in his body forcing him to commit the crime. The bizarre statement has reignited concerns over his mental health and the justice system's handling of his case. So then down here, after the clip, it says the history of mental health, earlier arrests, and repeated releases. So DeCarlos is currently homeless. He has a lengthy criminal history, some of which you stated. Including charges of larceny, armed robbery, and making threats, and then misuse of the 911 system and tons of other, right? Before this, he served a 5-year prison sentence, like you said, for armed robbery. And earlier this year, he was arrested again for misusing 911 during a welfare check. Notably, despite having a long criminal record, the 34-year-old was repeatedly released back into the community. As per a Daily Mail report, Brown spent 5 years in prison for armed robbery and was also arrested for assaulting his sister. Meanwhile, a report revealed that DeCarlos has been diagnosed with schizophrenia and has a history of violent offenses. These are all of his mugshots. That's such a pretty girl. Okay, people with schizophrenia make bizarre or unusual statements. According to the Mayo Clinic, schizophrenia is a severe mental health disorder that impacts a person's thoughts, emotions, and actions. It can cause a combination of hallucinations, delusions, and confused or disorganized thinking and behavior. Hallucinations involving perceived sights or sounds that others do not experience, while delusions are strong beliefs in things that are false. Individuals with schizophrenia may struggle to distinguish reality, making everyday life challenging.
I do believe he could have it. I'll tell you a story. When I was living a very different lifestyle, and going to rehab, the rehab facility I would go to, it was free to go to, and they had mental health patients there as well. And there was this one boy. He was like 17. He was so young, and we would all ask each other why they're there and all that. And he told me that he was schizophrenic and that he hears robot voices and they tell him to do things. And they would tell him like to kill his mom and to kill his dad and to hurt his sister. And so he would come there when they were talking to him and he would get like his medication switched or something. So it does sound like it could be schizophrenia, the way he's like, they told me to do it, because that was something that it reminded me of that boy saying the robots told me to do these things. And I would try really hard not to do them.
Right.
But if he you can't force somebody to take medication. I mean, I don't know. It's all very, very sad. if he does have it, man, it just sucks. Like, I don't even know what to say because it just sucks if he does have it and then she had to, I mean, this happened to her. I don't even know. Like, it's a bad situation all the way around.
Right. Right. Not 100% certain that I have. No. If you have a link, you know how to. You can put it in the chat if you want to. Right, Cindy. Yeah, I don't think you're defending him. It's just an explanation. I understand that completely. So this actually lists the timeline of his criminal background that you were talking about, 2007 through 2009. There were 3 misdemeanors. Brown was charged 3 times for misdemeanors between that time, including simple assault, disorderly conduct, resisting a public officer. According to the court records, all of the cases were dismissed. Details of the incident were not immediately available pending court system document uploads. I haven't been able to get any more yet. 2011 through 2011 through 2013, charges led to supervised probation. He was charged again with several misdemeanors, which he failed to show up for in court. In September of 2011, a criminal summons was issued for communicating threats, but he was not arrested. 2 months later, in November of 2011, Brown was cited for speeding 22 miles per hour over the limit. An arrest order was issued a few months later in that case. He failed to appear in court, and court records indicate that the Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office arrested him in that case in June of 2013. In April of 2013, he was cited for shoplifting. A few months later, in August of 2013, he was arrested on an older warrant for failing to show up to court in the case for communicating threats, as well as, he's just stacking them, isn't he? As well as 2 new charges of injury to property. Brown was released on an unsecured bond the same day. On November the 11th of 2013, a Charlotte Mecklenburg police officer arrested him on a new case that led to new felony charges for larceny and breaking and entering. The arrest included 3 outstanding warrants for the 3 other pending misdemeanors, where he would ultimately plead guilty to shoplifting, while the threats and property injury cases were dismissed. Why? Court records show Brown was convicted of the felony breaking and entering on April the 11th, 2014. He was assigned to 30 days in jail and 24-month supervised probation with the Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office. 2014 to 2021, new felony while on probation.
He's probably getting these light charge or sentences because of the mental health aspect of it, but
Hey Alexa, stop.
oh, you got,
Jeez.
hey, wiretap in your house? Okay.
Alexa, shut up. On August 21st of 2014, Brown assaulted a Honduran man and stole a Samsung Galaxy and about $750 in U.S. and Honduran currency using a handgun, according to court documents. All of those items were reportedly later found in Brown's apartment. Brown was arrested and charged with robbery with a dangerous weapon and possession of a firearm by a felon. A judge set 2 secured bonds totaling $110,000 in that case, and Brown was not released. Brown was ultimately convicted and served just over 5 years in the state prison. So that was what you were talking about. On September 20th of 2020, he was released and placed on parole for 1 year. 2022 to 2024 arrests, but no court record. According to Mecklenburg County Jail records, Charlotte Mecklenburg police arrested Brown 3 times between 2022 and 2024. None of those arrests appear to have led to charges, or the cases were dismissed in a way that no longer appears in court records. A little sus, don't you think?
Possibly, but they could have expunged it because, I mean, that's because of the mental health aspect. And I'm seeing that he's got a misdemeanor charge for third 911 misuse in 2025. He's having his mental break. Why didn't anybody do anything? You can tell.
Well, they're saying that somebody was trying to do something, but it was not above board. But in September 22nd, he was arrested for assault on a female and property injury, but court records don't reflect the corresponding charge. Jail and police records indicate arrests in April and May of 2024, both for repeatedly dialing 911 without an emergency. Could not locate a corresponding court record for that arrest. That's a lot of erased issues.
Yeah,
regardless of mental health.
they do
You don't,
that here.
do they really?
Yeah, they'll try like they're more about rehabilitation, okay? And so especially if there is a mental health aspect of it, they'll like basically let them go with the family. Like, they don't need to be doing this. Make sure you get them on the proper medication so this can stop. But I mean, that's what they were doing with the charges that aren't on record that you can't find. So I'm thinking somebody, his family is saying, we're trying to help him, we're getting him into counseling, we're doing this and we're doing that. It's just he's not on the right medication, da 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 da. And so they expunged the charge to try to help him because he is still young, relatively. But it's not helping him. Like at that point, I mean, that many times, in my opinion, somebody should have said, like, even with the last misuse charge for 911 call, I mean, somebody should have been like, well, something's going on here and he's not taking his medication or you're not getting him the right medication. So you need to put him in Butner and so he can get the right medication so that
Right.
they can observe him and make sure he's taking his medication and he stays on his medication before he gets released from Butner.
Right. So the officers advised that the issue was a medical issue. There's nothing further they could do. So he called 911 and it happened around 11:30. It says officers on the scene said in court filings that Brown believed he had been given a man-made material that controlled what he ate, walked, and talked. So, like you said, definitely in an active either manic episode or a breakdown at that point. Officers advised Brown that the issue was a medical issue, nothing further they could do. Brown became upset with the officers' answer and, with officers still on scene, called 911 to speak to the police. Everyone was standing outside a hospital, the Novant Health Presbyterian Medical Center on Hawthorne Lane, when this took place. So they were outside of a hospital. Brown went to jail. I'm sorry, I'm live. Thanks, guys. Sorry, not sure what's going on in my background.
You're
Brown
good.
went to jail, and Magistrate Teresa Stokes released him 2 days later on a written promise to appear. This is a common court decision when the charge involved is a nonviolent misdemeanor. On July 28, 3.5 weeks before Brown would be accused of stabbing and killing Iryna Zarutska on the Charlotte Light Rail, Judge Roy Wiggins signed a court order directing Brown to get a forensic evaluation. That request was in response to Brown's public defender filing a motion that questioned Brown's capacity to proceed with the case. That court order was the last action in Brown's case, and that was before the killing in August.
All of this makes me wonder if he did this because, okay, in his mind, there is something like he believes 100%, like, with every fiber of his being, that there is something controlling him and what he does and how he walks and how he talks and what he eats and all the things. And like the fact that he's standing there with the police and yet he still calls 911 makes me wonder if he's, because at that point he felt unheard. He felt like they
Right.
weren't listening, and if he tried to do something to get somebody to listen, and here we are, unfortunately.
Right. I mean, I can sense like the feeling of desperation. It's just a tragedy all around, right? Because now we're at the
Right.
place where he can't be helped, she can't be helped. There's just nothing. There's nothing. And there are things. There are 14 different ways that somebody could have helped him in a way that they should have.
I agree.
So the next thing that happens is that they're talking about, okay, so it's the only reason that it's unusual is because they moved it to a federal government, that the federal government stepped in, right? That's why it's unusual to me. Because on the state level, he's facing a first-degree murder charge in Mecklenburg County, right? But it gets unusual because the federal government is stepping in. So they decided, the U.S. Attorney's Office decided to charge him under the terrorist attacks and other violence against mass transportation systems. And that opens up a whole different thing. That charge carries a federal death penalty. That's not just a regular state charge. North Carolina technically has the death penalty, but it's not, they haven't carried out an execution since like 2006.
Right.
So I don't know. That's where that federal complaint from Cameron Winchester, what we opened with, that's where that came from. He took that and signed off on it, and he's like, yeah, according to press reports, the next court date's not even until September the 19th. So right now they have him committed to evaluate him to see if he's even going to be able to, he's being held without bond right now. Well, I think he's back in the county jail from what it says, but um, his name appears in public records under two different spellings too. So when I was going to look up some stuff for the documents, Dewan is the last name, but they also have a public record for him under Deiban, Deiban. So I've been trying to keep that in mind while I'm going to investigate all that stuff. So we talked about all of his prior cases. That's an almost 18-year history. 18-year history. In 18 years, we could not get it right. I mean, he's been dismissed. He's been had some convictions. He spent some time in prison. 18 years to get this right. And yeah, you're
Yeah.
right, Cindy. Prisons are definitely full of mentally ill people. Let me go back and see what you guys are saying. I'm not trying to ignore you guys. I'm so sorry. Drugs and alcohol make symptoms worse. Absolutely. We need mental institutions to keep the public safe, especially if judges are just going to see and diagnose and let them loose, in my opinion. Very good, Dandy.
I think so too. I think that we need to make sure that people are safe in the public and make sure that people are on the right medications and taking them if that's what they need. I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree. Getting a 5150 or a Baker's Act, the police should have taken him to be admitted. I agree. I know everything's rebelling today. My kids, my Alexa, my dogs, my computer, everything. The sheriff that shot the judge was ordered to get an evaluation. They claimed a 12+ month wait for evaluation. You're talking about Sheriff Steins in Kentucky?
Yeah.
Gotcha. So Brown's family has said that he is diagnosed, actually schizophrenic, and of course that's unverified by me. I know that Queen City News put it out, and WCNC made a statement that said that he had been factually diagnosed with schizophrenia back in January when he was arrested for calling 911 and saying that he thought somebody was controlling him or putting stuff in his brain. They should have done an evaluation then.
Yep.
Allegedly, hold down the fort for 2 seconds, please.
Okay. I'm nervous. I'm not on my I don't know. I'm nervous now. Okay. Yeah, I just North Carolina, yeah, the jails and things, they would prefer that people get help, and they can get help in the jail. Like there's nurses that come around and give out medications and things, but if the only time he's getting
Excuse me.
his actual medication and being made to take it is in jail, then that could be a reason why he gravitated to going back there by committing the crimes. But I would think if he's been to Butner, they would help him too. So I don't know.
Right. I agree with that. Thank you for holding that down. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. I was nervous. Can you believe that?
You're so nervous. So nervous. You talk to 15,000 people a day. So the case isn't just
No.
staying in the courtroom. Right now, it's starting to become a political thing, right? I've got to look up that where this video is for WRAL. But state lawmakers are calling for Magistrate Teresa Stokes, the one that released him, to be removed from her position um, for releasing him on a written promise to show back up to court, or a cash bail, or is one thing, but a written promise is another.
Yeah, I think I've gotten that once before. It's
The written
they're hard to
promise.
get. Yeah, written promise to show back up, and it was for something stupid like a traffic violation.
Oh yeah, I can't even tell you the last time I've even heard of a written promise. I don't even like. I don't know if they do that in Texas. I don't know. I don't stay in very much trouble. So it's basically a statement of a commitment that's put into writing, or a promissory note, like a little contract that's legally binding between you and the judge, that says that you're going to show back up, right? It's basically you sign it, I sign it, and I'll take your word for it. So they promise, and they put it in your case file, but
Yeah,
there's no money exchanged for it. So
yeah. I used to be bad. They would say, "Now don't go break the law." I'd be like, "Bet."
I bet that. I bet you did. I believe that.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. The Speaker of the North Carolina House is publicly calling it a catastrophic failure of leadership. So they're really wanting this lady's head. Let's look her up, and then we'll talk about what that proceeding evaluation is. Let's see. I haven't pulled up any of the.
So I'm assuming she's in Charlotte. I don't even go to Charlotte. Like, I'm scared of Charlotte. I stay away from there. I'd rather go to Raleigh before I'd go to Charlotte. Charlotte's scary to me. I think for a lot of people here, it is because it's such a big like area where there's a lot of people and a lot of things go on there. There's gang activity and things like that. Kind of like
Wow.
Fayetteville used to be.
Yeah. I've never been up there. I just have to take your word for it. I believe you. I'm glad you're up here with me. I'm
Yeah.
glad you're up here with me. Okay, so hi Glitter. Nice to see you. Um, they're gonna make a lot of the stuff that's coming out this week political. Obviously, the Charlie Kirk thing that's coming up is political, and they're gonna make this political. Now, I have not seen this. It says judge who released Charlotte light rail killer has history of addiction activism. And the only reason that I want to bring this up is because I can't just pretend that it's not out there, right? Like it's not everywhere I'm turning around. She's a Ukrainian refugee. On the video, he basically they quote him as saying, I blanked that white girl, and so in some ways they're calling this a
Hey,
crime that that is it
yeah.
could possibly be a hate crime. If you look at it objectively like we're doing, it's a crime of not getting the mental help or mental evaluations that he needed in order to either stay off the streets. Just
Yeah.
I don't have a horse in the race on the activism side of it or the judge side of it or anything. I'm more of like simpleton here. Like there's a girl and she was on a train and she was stabbed in the neck, and there's a man who got away with stuff 14 times before he's actually been arrested, and now it's too late for everybody in the whole case. That's
Yep.
the way I look at it. But there are some people that see it other ways. Where did that go? Oh, there it is, right there. Okay, let's see what this says.
And there was also a horrible killing recently in Charlotte, where I talked about, and so many others. And we're going to get to the end of it. And, when you have horrible killings, you have to take horrible actions.
A North Carolina judge is under fire for releasing a man who later killed a Ukrainian refugee. Magistrate Judge Teresa Stokes released Decarlos Brown Jr. without bond despite his history of mental illness and prior arrests. 7 months later, Brown stabbed Iryna Zarutska to death on a light rail train. Zarutska had fled Ukraine seeking safety in the U.S. Even Brown's own mother said the court system failed by releasing him. Stokes is not a licensed attorney, which is permissible for magistrates in North Carolina. Critics are questioning whether her background in addiction recovery activism influenced her decisions. Some are calling for an investigation. A legal expert says Stokes didn't adequately consider the danger Brown posed. The district attorney acknowledges systemic failures in handling mentally ill offenders due to a shortage of psychiatric beds. Republicans are using this case to criticize.
You see, he didn't get help because people didn't get help because they don't have enough beds. I can't believe this is one of those things where this is one of the things that pisses me off. We know that he was bleeding up and down this aisle. I don't know why they keep blurring all this stuff out. When we see in front of our eyes is not always what you and I did this on New Year's. You remember all the stuff that we did on New Year's when the guy
Yeah.
was just running through the people in New Orleans and just doing what he was doing, and they make it seem they want us to not see what we know we saw. It's like a
Yeah.
gaslighting project.
It's the propaganda that's allowed in the mainstream media. I think it's bullshit that they were like, "There's not enough beds." Again, he went immediately to Butner, so there was enough beds. The rehab facilities, like I was just talking about, yeah, there's going to be drug addicts there, but they have mental health beds. They have 72-hour holds there. That's where they hold them. Like, no, stop. If I wanted to check into rehab, I could do it right now and be there in an hour because an
Right.
ambulance would come pick me up. Don't tell me
Right.
there's not enough beds. Let me say, not that I need to go to rehab. I don't do
No,
substances
no.
anymore. Let me put that out there. But if I wanted to, I could.
Right, I know what you meant. I think most of us here know what you meant. Nobody thinks, yeah. And no shame in anybody who is in active, addiction or has having a manic episode. Just reach out, like if you need something, and that's a bigger problem too. Is it's still a taboo? Like schizophrenia is still a taboo topic. People don't just go out. You don't hear, how we go around and we hear that a lot of children or young adults and even adults now We talk about autism a lot. It's something that's out in the public. We talk about it. It is what it is. Back in the
Mhm.
80s, we talked about HIV/AIDS. It was out in the
Yeah.
public. We talked about it. We talked about it. We talked about it. But schizophrenia isn't one of those things. It's like people are embarrassed.
Yeah. I've known quite a few, and I've got some in my family too. So it's, yeah, I know what you mean.
They're in there. I'm not, don't get me wrong, Cindy. I'm not saying that there are enough beds. I'm not saying that there is enough housing. I'm not saying that there is enough outpatient help. Obviously there isn't, because otherwise we wouldn't be struggling like this, right?
I,
So there's some breakdown. It's not that I'm not saying that there's not enough places. I'm saying that there's not enough help. The resources are there. A lot of people don't know how to talk about it. If it's taboo, if people aren't talking about schizophrenia or how to get help for it, they're not going to know how to do it. I wouldn't know right now what to do if my son had a manic episode. Like I would have to do like deductive reasoning and try to work my way through it, but it's not one of those things where we just know.
well,
We're not born knowing it.
in Charlotte, there is a lot of people, so there might not be beds available there. But okay, every time I've ever been to the hospital, like let's say if he asked to go, and see that's another. Okay, if we're going to talk about that, see, my ADHD. When he was outside the hospital with the officers and called 911 to go back in, like normally they have when you go to a hospital and you're having a manic episode or something to that effect, they will have the mental health person come in and speak to you, and you'll be like locked in the hospital for a couple of hours until the mental health person comes. They evaluate you, and then they send you to a facility to get a bed. If you're in jail and you are leaving to go to a mental health facility, you might be there 3 or 4 days waiting on a bed, but they would keep you there, and usually you would get one pretty quickly. I don't know, it's I don't know about Charlotte specifically, but it seems to me like I mean, he went to Butner pretty quickly, and it seems like they would have put him in Butner pretty quickly if he asked to go. But did he ask to go? I don't know if we'll ever know.
I don't know. I mean, we could ask the question all day: are the mental health systems in North Carolina failing people in the public? Are they moving too slowly, or is it just a nationwide thing? It's not just North Carolina. I don't want to put that all on. I don't want to put that all on you guys up there. We have a lot of people here in Dallas too that are in the same boat, in the same position.
Yeah.
The mental health resources here in Texas are not better. They're different, a little bit different, but there's always a delay in evaluations down here too.
Yeah.
Um,
It's odd.
where it becomes an issue, where it becomes a more important issue to people is when it becomes, oh yeah, we're gonna stop talking about state charges and something that moves into a federal government step, terrorism related homicide charges, where all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, now there's a bed, now there's a way to get them evaluated. Now we've got to face this. Now the president's involved, kind of thing.
That's
And
very true. Yeah.
yeah,
Um.
it's
Yeah.
kind
I
of
hate. I'm sorry. I hate that it got switched to federal, honestly, because of the mental health aspect of it. But somebody needs to do something. But I don't think he should be facing the death penalty. I didn't mean to interrupt you when you
you're
were
not
reading her
interrupting me.
comment.
No, you're not interrupting me. I was just reading it to myself. 72-hour minimum hold here. It can be extended by a judge for up to 6 months on 1 month at a time. I gotcha. Evening, Jada. How are you? Nice to see you.
Hey,
Okay, let's
Jada
finish watching this.
and Glitter.
Hey, I don't know what your malfunction is, Thor.
Size soft on crime policies. Brown is now in custody awaiting trial for Zarutska's murder.
We were done. We were done with that video. Thor, it's okay. So yeah, we were talking about the legal and the political stuff about it, but right, we're talking about a 23-year-old girl, a refugee from Ukraine who came here to build a new life after fleeing from war. So her family spoke out a little bit about the grief, and the community has rallied in support, and they've raised, I believe now, the last time I saw the GoFundMe was at the $100,000 mark, but they're not even taking her body back to Ukraine. Like you said, she loved it so much that she wanted to, that they assume that she wants to be buried here. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring it back just a little bit because I know we're talking about the injustice of him, but there's still a girl who's, in a box right now who doesn't have any more opportunities in life at 23 years old.
Yeah, and just watching that video and just like she covers her mouth like she doesn't want to aggravate him or like anybody. It's really sad all the way around.
So you can't see it. Let me put it back up.
I was going back through my live today to cut out that video, and I realized I was reading an article that like nobody could see, but everybody was so great. Nobody was like, we can't see him.
I mean, I told you afterwards, but I didn't want to tell you before because you was into it. I didn't want to bother you. You were into it. I do feel bad for the people on the train who witnessed it, but the thing that I
Yeah,
don't understand is where this is where human behavior comes up. If I see something happening in front of me, I have a tendency to run towards it. There are people that run away, there are people that turn away. When is it okay? Why is it okay in society to not help anybody, to not offer aid to people anymore? I just don't understand when we got there. And I
I
guess
don't.
I'm just speaking for myself. I'm 44 years old. I mean, I wasn't raised like that.
Yeah, I wasn't either, and I was thinking the same thing. I would have tried to help her.
I mean,
I
it
would.
would have, let's face the facts. Honestly, it would not have done any good. I'm sure the autopsy is going to prove that. But would you have taken your jacket off? Yeah, I imagine they were. I can see that too because, like I said, her putting her hands in front of her face and putting it up there, she didn't want to. It seemed like she didn't want to provoke him anymore. At the very beginning of the video too, which I do want to watch that. I don't need to find allegedly, will you find one that's not going to cause well, you're on your phone, I'll do it. One that's not going to cause me to get taken down. I want to see the video of when she first got on the train and sat down in front of him. He had already had his hands down, his head down in his hands, and he looked so incredibly annoyed that she got in his space.
Yeah,
He looked so incredibly annoyed, and it looked like he might have huffed. She might have had headphones on. She had that hat on. She had her phone. She was looking down. She could have had headphones on. I don't know, but it looked like he was so incredibly annoyed that she got in his face that he, you know, I, that's just what I saw, just from what I saw from my point of view, and it could be completely off base, but um,
it, yeah, it seemed like that. It did.
So this talks about what happens in North Carolina during a capacity to proceed evaluation. So they send him for an extensive evaluation to see if is he even going to stand in a courtroom and face charges? Is he even going to be seen, uh, as the monster that some people are seeing him? So a judge has ordered him, um, to be committed into the state psychiatric hospital for a capacity to proceed examination. The evaluation at Central Regional Hospital in Butner will help a court determine whether he is mentally competent to stand trial in the case. Okay, Cindy, hurry back. We'll be here. You don't have to keep your comments nice. I'm not bringing very many of them up on the stage. Like I said, I don't want to get taken down, but I want you guys to have your opinions. You don't have to have the opinion that I have. Allegedly, and I don't always agree. I promise you that. You don't have to have
No,
my opinion.
no, we don't.
So, WBTV took questions about the process to the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. Statewide Director of Forensic Services, Dr. Robert Cochran, couldn't speak specifically about any individual case. However, he said a typical assessment is extensive. Evaluators will conduct a clinical interview with the defendant and observe them. Evaluators may also talk to family and girl and conduct a mental health exam. They could also conduct intelligence and personality testing. School, mental, and criminal records would also be accessible to the clinicians. The evaluator would interview the person at length, of course, but oftentimes there's a misconception that's the beginning and end of an evaluation, which it's not, Cochran said. There are often quite extensive assessments of the individual before the evaluator determines one, whether the person suffers from a mental illness or defect, and secondly, if so, if they're capable to proceed in their trial or not. According to the court documents, Brown will be committed to Central Regional Hospital for an evaluation that cannot exceed 60 days. As you're mouthy, that's okay, as Cindy stated. If a court rules a defendant is not competent to stand trial, they could be involuntarily committed to a state psychiatric facility for further treatment and restoration until a court deems them capable to proceed. And we've seen that in many cases. There have been many, many cases where people have said, no, he's not able to stand trial, and they just try again. They just try again. Every 60 days, they try again. Sometimes the decision's a difficult one, a close call, so to speak, in some cases. The system is built around having hearings, making determinations, cross examining witnesses, having individuals evaluated by another professional or even a third professional to get others' opinions so that the right decision and the right call is made at the end of the day. So they do approximately 900 forensic evaluations per year at this hospital. Most of the evaluations are done on an outpatient basis, but in some cases, inpatient service is required. Sheriff's deputies will transfer defendants to the hospital and stay with them until the evaluation is over. Since the pandemic, many of the forensic evaluations can be done over a teleconference. I find that weird, um, just because
Uh,
people audio and stuff. That's just me, but
Yeah, I think he needs to be like he needs to go there and be monitored
right, like
all for like an extensive period, like 40 or 50 days,
something.
honestly.
I need to
Um,
see it on a longer term basis.
I'm gonna jump down into chat because it's starting to rain out here, and I'm probably gonna go inside. But I'll be in chat. Thank you for letting me up.
Thank you for coming up. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, yeah, it was fun. I will be in chat.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Bye.
Bye. So the CMPD, the Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department, did put out two different updates on this case. One came out on the 23rd and the second one on the 29th. That's the one I want to go over. It just says that they interviewed, he has been interviewed by the detectives. So when appropriate, probably way later in the world, we'll be able, hopefully, to FOIA that interview and see what it was that he said on the day that that came into question. Her family has been notified. There was a detective assigned to the case. There are people leaving information anonymously, and they do have tip lines for anybody that was on that train that can leave their own information. Hey, Indie Girl, nice to see you. The victim in this case was identified. The result of the investigation brought him to Atrium Health with non life threatening injuries at first, and then he was arrested right after his release. Her next of kin had been notified of her death on the case, and it's an ongoing investigation. It says here. And then that came up on the 22nd. And basically, it just tells everything that happened in the case up to that point. We went over the timeline of the events that happened to him. So we've got that taken care of. And then there's this. Okay. The suspect's attorney issued a statement in the case, and I think there's a video here. Rude. Where did it go? There it went. Let me get past that ad right there. And I'll come right back. Excuse me. Oh, you can't hear it, can you? Well, that's not very good. If you guys can't hear the video, I'm just sitting here listening to it by myself. Okay, no sound. Sorry. Don't hit me. Sorry. See if I can fix it. All right, see if this fixes it. Let me know.
Today, we are hearing from the family of the Ukrainian refugee Iryna Zarutska for the first time after she was stabbed to death as she sat on the CATS Light-Rail train in South End last month. According to a news release from the family's attorney, loved ones are now demanding justice and public safety reforms. They say a lack of security and oversight contributed to her death. The family is also asking the public to respect their grief by not sharing that surveillance footage. Zarutska's family says she was a kind and hardworking young woman, deeply loved by her family and friends.
If you're a YouTuber and you want to save hours managing your life,
Okay. Thank you for sending me that. Yes. All right. If you have not seen this video, please, 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 just like I said, it's a trigger warning. It's kind of scary, and if you're not like desensitized to it, then it can be triggering. Doesn't show the actual thing, right? Allegedly, it doesn't show that moment, right? It shows it's a 4-minute video, so let's just go through it. I'm gonna pause it for a few minutes on the sound.
Stabbed this girl on a train for no reason. The video, until now, stopped here, and the rest was left to imagination. But now we have more. Before I continue this, I will tell you there is no blood, and the actual stab is not seen.
Okay,
But this
thank
video is horrific and nauseating. So that's your warning. Here's the continuation.
Oh, so that's afterwards. That shocked me earlier today when you sent me that, Jess. It scared me. So she's sitting here, he's raising it up, and you can see her right after that with her hands over her mouth. Just and there's 2 people here. Like, this person is sitting here. There's another person right here. There's a person right there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 people. No, I don't think she did. I don't think she did at all. I think she was kind of like, what happened?
Video is horrific and nauseating. So that it is just pure horror. Look at this girl's eyes. Tragic. She had to make eye contact with evil, and terror is on her face. Now the shock of realizing that something's wrong.
She has no idea. And she's holding her phone. She's still holding her phone. And she's looking around there to other people. Like, this person got up behind her.
Probably doesn't even know she's been stabbed yet, and the pain in her neck is probably just starting to creep in. And now she's left to cry as her life slips away, alone, because not a single person could offer her help or even an "Are you okay?" You could give these people the benefit of the doubt, as perhaps they don't quite
You just watched this man put a knife in her neck, and you walked away like it wasn't your fucking business. Why is that the most infuriating thing to me in this case right now? It's just the most infuriating thing to me.
for her help or even an "Are you okay?" You could give these people the benefit of the doubt, as perhaps they don't quite realize what happened, especially because it happened so quick and without warning. The guy walks down the train, which I've blurred to spare you the blood that's everywhere, and he seems to say, "I got that white girl." Then, while standing alone, he seems to utter his reason for this whole thing.
No, she didn't. No, she didn't.
After he leaves,
Oh, I did not know that. I did not know that part. I'm sorry for that. I apologize if that's triggering. I knew about I just stabbed that white girl, but this is why people are calling it what they're calling it. They're looking past the mental like the mental health part of it, and going straight to hate crime. That's why. I didn't know that. No, it's okay. I just didn't know that. Like, I was wondering in my mind. I'm like, why are they politicizing this to the degree that it is? And that now I understand a little bit more.
you can hear some people finally discover what's happened.
So what I don't understand is that not the guy. I'm not going to go back very far, but is that guy not the one that was sitting by her?
People finally
Is that not the one that was sitting by her? You can't really tell because it's kind of redacted here, but we'll have to watch the unredacted one.
discover what's happened.
And he's on the phone. He's on the phone.
This video might be excruciating to watch, but it should be seen by everyone because this is
That's the guy. That's the same guy. So, okay, I'm gonna take back what I said. I'm gonna take back what I said. He got up. He saw what he did. He saw what he did. He saw what he did. He's looking. She's looking. She doesn't give a shit. He gets up and he's running to the front of the train. He runs to the front of the train. And when he comes back through, when the guy gets off, probably out of self-preservation not to also be stabbed with no defense, he ran to the front of the train. He was on the phone on his way back down.
video might be excruciating to watch, but it should be seen by everyone because this is horrific and it's being allowed to happen across the country.
So he may not have reacted the way I would have reacted. He may not have reacted by directly going to the victim, but he did have some proactive um, thought process to try to help in some way. So when he came back, running back down, he was on the phone.
And the president is now talking about handling the problem.
There was also a horrible killing recently in Charlotte, where I talked about, and so many others. You know, when you have horrible killings, you have to take horrible actions. For far too long, Americans have been forced to put up with Democrat-run cities that set loose savage, bloodthirsty criminals to prey on innocent people. Really very, very innocent people. In every place, they control radical left judges, politicians, and activists, and they've adopted a policy of catch and release for thugs and killers. In Charlotte, North Carolina, we saw the results of these policies when a 23-year-old woman
I'll go back.
who came here from Ukraine met her bloody end on a public train. And here's a picture of it. This is the picture of it. And this is a picture of the woman, a beautiful young girl that never had problems in life.
I'm sorry, what? No, you're okay, allegedly. I really appreciate you. No, I appreciate you. Like I said, I don't like, this platform censors a little bit. But I don't like having to be censored. The stuff, it is what it is. It's not your thought. You didn't do it. They say she had no problem in life. She lived in a bomb shelter and came to the United States to get away from that. She had no problem in life. I could see your comment over here. I could see your comment on YouTube, but I cannot see it on the StreamYard. So Orange Rose said there was some mixed reporting that he allegedly stabbed her once in the neck and then 2 or 3 more times when she was on the floor. What is the truth? The truth is, from what I've seen through my own eyes on the unredacted video, he stabbed her 3 times in the neck and then he walked to the front of the train and then got off at the next platform. I did not see him engage with her at all after he raised his hand up, got her 3 times, and then she very quickly, probably 45 seconds to a minute after that, falls over to the side, then falls into the floor. You can see her move a little bit, and then you can see her bring her hand up, and her trying to get to her phone, trying to use her phone. That's what you can see. And Orange, I'll be glad to share that where we saw that on X, just not on here. I can put it in the comment section if you guys want to go, or in the description of the video afterwards. You're so welcome. Sorry, I don't have a more appropriate answer. Yeah, once he leaves, he's gone. Yeah.
With a magnificent future in this country. And now she's dead. She was slaughtered by a deranged monster who was roaming free after 14 prior arrests. We cannot allow a depraved criminal element of violent repeat offenders to continue spreading destruction and death throughout our country. We have to respond with force and strength. We have to be vicious just like they are. It's the only thing they understand. 24 of the top 25 most dangerous cities in America are run by Democrat mayors. 50 people were murdered in Chicago in recent weeks, with hundreds being shot.
It's nothing to do with this case, but basically the long and short of it, Orange, is that you can see him at 21:46 unfold the pocket knife, stab her 3 times in the back of the neck, and then you walk away. And she was pronounced deceased like 10 minutes after that. So 10 minutes after that, right, Hannah? He has a tendency. That is her BFF forever.
And it's time to stop this madness. The people of our country need to insist on protection, safety, that it can be done of America. Now it's
All this just him?
done. Those cities.
Okay, so I can put that.
By now, the entire world.
There we go. So yeah, this is what I was talking. This is why I allegedly gave it to me. If you guys want that video, I'll also post that in the description box after the live. He, right before this, I know there's another video. I have to look at here. Let's see. Just kind of want to see the few minutes before. Okay, the nervous acting in the few minutes before he does this right here. Let's see if this shows it. So he's looking around. He's already looking anxious. He's putting his head down in his hands. He's shaking his head no.
This stop is Stanley Park Station. Please exit right.
So he's putting his head down a little bit. He knows they're at a stop. You can hear the ding of the door. Then she comes in the train. Here she comes. So she does have her headphones in both ears. You could see it. She had headphones in both ears. She is very closed off. If you were to look at it in a body language perspective, she walks in. She's very closed off. Like she's got her phone up in her head. She's got her headphones in. She's got her hat on. She's not looking to just speak with everybody on the train from what you see. I'm no expert. I'm just saying from my own experience is what I see. She sits down, crosses her legs, and then goes right back to what she was doing on her phone. But if you look at him, she walks over there. He has his head up against the window and he's looking at her with his lips pursed. He drops his hand down and moves his head in a way, to me, that shows annoyance. I would assume if I were looking at him and he did that, put his head down and his hand down and moved his head away a little bit, I would assume he was annoyed. Not to say it's truth, it's just what my opinion is. Like, really? You have to sit here? And so now I feel like he's agitated. It seems like he's agitated to me. See, before she even goes to sit down, this is while she's getting on the train, the door's opening. He sits back and puts his hand right there to get away from her already. And she's not even sat there. He's hoping she doesn't sit where he's at. He already looks annoyed to me. He's looking down and then he looks up, sees her coming his direction, in my opinion. Yeah. He's mad she's in his face. She's in his face.
and clear. Doors are closing. Train is about to move.
He's annoyed at her for sitting in his space, in my opinion. There's no way she didn't have time to say anything to him, call him anything, do anything to him. As a matter of fact, when I saw her, she didn't even look like she looked at him at all. How everyone is completely closed off from each other. It's so sad. I guess I'm different. I look around and pay attention because you just never know. In order to see something and say something, you have to be paying attention. Thank you, Orange. I don't disagree with that. I'm not saying anything. It's just sort of sitting there. So you could see what he pulls out of his pocket. They're showing you he's pulling out a pocket knife. Gosh. What do you guys think? Do you think he was annoyed? Allegedly, you do. Yeah. Yeah. You think he looks annoyed, Hannah? Yeah, I think so too. I think he was annoyed. My ex used to fuss at me every day for not paying attention to my surroundings. I do now. Yeah, I think I can't think of any other reason. And whether he was, whether he was manic or he was in a state of, you know, whatever his state was. This doesn't give cause to what happened. I don't know. It's hard to just rifle through all of this. And just seeing her so scared after. My tab. Where'd my tab go? There you go. I'm trying to show y'all something, and you're not there. Just replaying that right there. I don't have any sound on. Well, what was he so annoyed about? What was he so annoyed at her about? Yeah, I saw they started a GoFundMe for him. The last time I saw it only had like $5 in it, but her face, she's just in shock. This literally is the last sane seconds. Like, this is the last thing she gets to see is whatever she was searching or looking at, whatever she was listening to, is the last thing that happens in her life. Hey, Spinster. I think this was about hate and not about robbing. Oh, I don't think he took I don't think he took anything from her except for her life. She looks terrified. Oh my goodness. And that's the last thing that she saw. And the people around her that didn't say anything. Except for, I mean, she looked at the only person that I feel like helped her right away. Tried to at least. Self-preservation first, and then he runs back, obviously. Because he has his cell phone in his hand, and he ran. And then as soon as the guy gets off the train right here, you see him run back by. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with that. That's where I'm at with that guy. I don't know how they could have seen what was in his hand, but I do know that on the unredacted video, there is blood everywhere. Everywhere. Like, there was no way that you could even, think there was a thought process for, whether or not it was something that involved something sharp because there was blood everywhere. Okay, so the Justice Department released a statement September the 9th, which was yesterday, about the reason that they did the federal complaint. So a federal criminal complaint was filed in the district court in Charlotte in connection with the fatal attack of Iryna Zarutska on the city's light rail system. Brown is charged with one count of committing an act causing death on a mass transportation system. Yeah, he was bleeding pretty bad. Yeah. Yeah, jeez. Iryna Zarutska was a young woman living the American dream. Her horrific murder is a direct result of failed soft on crime policies that put criminals before innocent people, is what the Attorney General said. I've directed my attorneys to federally prosecute Decarlos Brown Jr., a repeat violent offender with a history of violent crime. We will seek the maximum penalty for this unforgivable act of violence. He will never again see the light of day as a free man. The brutal attack on Iryna Zarutska on the Charlotte Light Rail was a disgraceful act that should never happen in America. That was from FBI Director Kash Patel. The FBI jumped to assist in the investigation immediately to ensure justice is served and the perpetrator is never released from jail to kill again. According to allegations in the affidavit filed with a criminal complaint, these are all of the allegations that he did. This brutal attack was on an innocent woman simply trying to get to her destination, an attack on the American way of life. Of course, crimes like this, affect the victim the most. Iryna deserves justice, and we will bring justice to her and her family. But crimes like this also affect everyone who relies on mass transportation to get to and from work and go about their daily lives. And federal charges are necessary to protect the public and ensure confidence in our transportation systems. Do any of you ride public transportation? Any of you have to take public transportation to and from work every day? Or to and from anywhere on a regular basis? I personally do not. I live in Dallas, and then I live north of Dallas, and in this area we don't have to do that. Let's see on what you said here. No, you did one to New York. Yeah, my husband used to run a livery business with a friend in New York, and so he never did take public transportation. He did drive everybody else around, though. He did limo and livery. You Uber to and from work. So in North Carolina, a mental health defense on a federal case involves the insanity defense, Anna. So they have to prove clear and convincing evidence that a severe mental illness prevented the defendant from understanding their actions or distinguishing between right and wrong. They also have to assess if a defendant's competency to stand trial, which the court has to evaluate if there's any evidence of a lack of capacity to proceed with the defense. This process involves a court-ordered psychiatric evaluations, potentially at North Carolina's Central Regional Hospital, which we talked about. So the burden of proof, the defense bears the burden of proof. It has to be clear and convincing evidence of the legal insanity. You used to ride the subway in Boston. Was it quick? I don't know anything about those. You ride several times a week in the Phoenix area. Sometimes you get scared on the light rail because people are crazy. Yeah, they have the yellow rail down here in Dallas, and I've never been on it. I've always said I want to take the train, and my husband's like, "No, you're not. You're not doing it." Even if you're found sane at the time of the crime, a defendant has to be deemed mentally competent to understand the proceedings in their own defense for the actual trial itself. So they have what they call a duty to evaluate, and that's a substantial. If there is substantial evidence that the defendant lacks the capacity to proceed, the court will order a hearing to determine the competency. and they may be ordered by the court, and they can usually involve the assessments at the state forensic level. While North Carolina has state laws that guide aspects of mental health in its criminal justice system, which is the statute for competency to stand trial, which is the new North Carolina general statute. If the case is federal, the underlying criminal statutes and procedures will follow what the federal government requires, and not the local statutes. I think the other women there that were there and left were scared for their lives. I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree that they were scared. I don't know. My adrenaline takes over, and maybe I'm too dumb to be scared in certain situations. And also, sometimes it depends on life experiences, right? So if you've never seen anything like that happen in front of you, you very well could be in shock as well. So I don't want to, degrade from the situation. 2 hours to get off the train. He didn't make it later. I was going from Palm Beach to Miami. I'll never ride a train again. Oh my gosh. You rode the bus for over a year. Intense every time. Yeah, it seems to be the general consensus that it's not the the safest place to be. If I had my kids with me, I would definitely get them to safety first and then lend help, of course. Of course. Yeah, I see that's kind of what I'm saying. As a whatever position you hold in life, sometimes that kind of gives you that lends you know, to what you're able to do, or the shock value, right? Read the first part of your answer. No, oh, I'm sorry. No, I rode a train once. A guy stepped on the tracks in front of the train oh Lord, to unalive himself, and he landed right under the window where you were sitting. Yeah, I did not read that. So it took hours to get off the train. He didn't make it. I was going from Palm Beach to Miami. I'll never ride a train again. My gosh, I'm so sorry. I should have read that correctly, shouldn't I have, Cindy? UK public transport is relatively safe. You know, the easiest place I've ever been on public transport and felt safe was Mexico City. Mexico City. You could hear a pin drop. It is quiet. It is clean. It is right on top of the Aztec city of Tenochtitlan or Tenochtitlan, whatever people call it, and it's very respected. It's just beautiful down there. There's not a speck of trash. People are really respectful. I loved it. I loved it. Ever since the pandemic, you don't do public well. Well, I don't think anybody does. I don't think anybody does. Okay, before I wrap it up for tonight, because it's a kind of a shorter live, I want to just bring it back to where it truly belongs. We're talking about Iryna Zarutska. Her name is not just a name in the headline. She was a 23-year-old daughter, a friend, a young woman who had already survived probably the unthinkable, living in a bomb shelter in the Ukraine, only to come here seeking peace and safety. It's said that she loved art and that she cared deeply for people, and her life definitely mattered. And in a moment of senseless violence, it was all taken away. When I read through the criminal complaint, and the timeline itself is just chilling, right? 3 strikes, a pocket knife, crowded train, life done, minutes in between. Minutes in between. It didn't have to happen. Brown had a history. There were red flags everywhere. The judges had opportunities to intervene, and somehow he kept slipping through the cracks. So now it's not just facing North Carolina's justice system. Now he has to face a federal terrorism charge that carries the death penalty. So tonight, before we log off, just let her memory not be in vain, and won't be reduced to just a headline. And of course, even the president of the United States is demanding accountability from, the suspect, from the system it failed to stop him, in my opinion. But justice isn't about revenge. I said the same thing in the Brian Koberger thing. Justice isn't about revenge. It's just making sure that the tragedies don't repeat themselves. And what do we do, to keep them from repeating themselves? I really appreciate all of you spending your time with me tonight. Hold your loved ones close. Stay safe. I'll see you guys on the next live. As always, thank you for hanging with you.
Oh,